Hello, welcome to my channel. This video is about Mumble, which is a voice chat server which works. The GUI for it is this thing, which I'll move around on the screen. It looks like that because it's designed for voice, and you can see who's talking because they change from green to blue. But I notice it's got a text chat down here, which I thought might be quite useful just for chatting with friends where we want to type test messages and copy paste stuff without the voice part. So I thought I'd write my own program to do that, because this interface down here it's not so easy to use. It's a bit small and cramped. So let's get rid of that. Well, let's just look at this. So this is what I created, and I used Claude AI to help me. And this is running on Ubuntu, and it's a simple text interface chat program which is showing the same information this one's doing. So if I put something in here like 1, 2, 3, it goes beep. This one beeps. When a message comes in, it says 1, 2, 3, and if I type back 4, 5, 6, then it pops up there. It's as simple as that. And I wanted a minimal interface. But the clever thing is that I wanted it to work via Yggdrasil, which is of course the encrypted layer which runs on top of the normal internet, and it uses IP version 6 with encryption. And a big advantage of that is you don't have to open any ports on a router to allow connections to come into the server. It bypasses that and goes in on a different layer. So that's what I wanted to use. And what I've done is created a GitHub repo, which is this one. I'll put a link in the description below. My github.com/photographm is my username, and then mumble-chat is the name of the program. I've been through quite a few iterations of this to get it to work, because I wanted it to be easy to install and to work on most Debian-based Linux distributions, and also NixOS. So this means that currently it won't work on Fedora or any of those other Linux distros. So this is the GitHub repo, which has got the source code in Python. You've got a setup program and a run program to run this Python script, which is a bit messy to use. So I made an easier version, which is this one. And this one uses a pre-packaged, let me look at the words here. I'm not very good with words. So what I need to do is find the words which are in my notes, which I can't find. You can see this is a live video, and I'm going to not bother editing it. So I've packaged it as a self-extracting .run archive, and that means that you just have to run it, and it should set everything up for you. Yggdrasil is a network layer that needs to be installed on your computer. You may not want it there all the time. So what this does is it installs it with your permission and runs it when the chat program's running, and when you exit the chat program, then it closes down the Yggdrasil that's running in the background. Of course, you could change it to keep it running, but if you don't need it, might as well stop it. So all I have to do is follow the instructions that I wrote here for the quick start, which is to go to my releases page, which I'll show you in a moment, and then all we have to do is download the .run file and then change the permissions to enable it to run, and run it, and that's it. So let's see if it actually works. This is an Ubuntu 22 machine, and it's written for this and anything later. So later versions of Ubuntu or Linux Mint or Debian should also work. It's a little bit tricky getting that set up. I think here, yeah, anything from Debian 11 onwards or Mint 21 onwards, it should work. So I need to go to the releases, which is here on the right hand side. Click on releases, and now we're on version 11. Occasionally I find a little bug, fix it, and then the release number increases. So version 11 is here. Let me just copy paste this. The two commands I mentioned earlier, let's copy those, and then click on this to download that version 11, which is downloading. That went very fast. It's a bit suspicious. Interesting. And let me just look in the downloads directory, and let's do ls, and there it is, version 11 of that program. So now let's just paste in those two commands both at the same time and run them, and it started the install script for the program. What does it say? It's starting. Yggdrasil is not installed. It's because it's a fresh Ubuntu that doesn't have it installed. Most people probably don't have this installed. It took a while to find the right version and the right source to download it from in a way that works. So the question is, do we want to install it? The answer is yes. So type Y. And because it's doing an install, it needs to do it as root. So it needs my password for sudo to work. So what's that? That's this. There it is. And it's getting the Yggdrasil from this repo from Neil Alexander, who has done some very useful stuff. It takes a little while to set that up. You can see it's running now. And while it's running in the meantime, this is the address of my server, which I've got running here, which you can try connecting to and see if you can chat with me. So this is it's an IP version 6 address that's unique to the server that I'm running here. And if you put this into here, then you should be able to connect. So let's try that. Let me first of all copy this address using copy, and then this is the program that's running. Didn't seem to give any errors, which is good. It's always a good idea to look through to see if any errors have occurred during an install like this or weird stuff, and seems okay. So let's just paste in the server address, which goes, oh, there's a funny character on the end. I don't like that. I need to fix that, but let's just delete it. It ends with F. Okay, you need to watch out for things like that. So that's, if you were installing this program, this client for mumble-chat, you could put that address in there or any other address. You can also put an IP version 4 address or a URL, whatever you want. In this case, because we're using Yggdrasil, which is encrypted, and IP version 6, we put that address in. The port number is automatically filled in. That's the standard port to use for Mumble. That's the default. You can give yourself a name here, and I'm going to call this VM167 because that's the virtual machine it's running on, so I know which is which. So we can put any name in there. No password required, no channel name, then it'll go in the root channel. Hit connect. That beep actually came from over here, which is the standard Mumble client running on this desktop computer. But you can see, oops, you will be able to see here, this is the GUI for that program that's just been installed and run, and you can see it's connected. And if I perhaps bring up another one of these where we can see what's going on, then I can't find one, so let's use that one. This is the standard Mumble. If I just type in here something like hello, you see it pops up over here, hello, and if I write back hi, pops up over here, hi, and I find this interface easier to look at than that one. I'm not sure where my other one's gone. It's a bit of a strange thing to happen. I think I minimized it. There it is. So this is another virtual machine running Ubuntu 22, which has the same thing. This one's called VM165. The little marker here, the arrow, tells you what your own username is, and these are the other users in the group chat. So there are 4 users in here. So this one could say banana, and it pops up in there, and it also pops up in here. This is the one that's going beep all the time. This also has the voice chat function, but if you look at the settings in the Mumble client, you see there's a lot of things you can set up, which is very nice, but I didn't want all of those. I wanted something super minimal with no settings that just works, which is why I created this program. Let me just look at my notes. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so it's written in Python originally and then packaged as a .run archive. Yggdrasil is free and open source, and it's encrypted, and it can go through routers for internet router connections without having to have ports open to a server, which is useful. The address is here. I'll put this in the description below. That's the address of my server you can connect to using a client like this. Let's see if anybody manages to connect and say hello. I'll read it, leave it running on a virtual machine 24/7, so I'll see if you pop up and say hello. A bit like my mesh chat on Reticulum. Occasionally people come up in there and say hi, which is always nice to see. This program, when it is installed, sets it up because it needs peers to connect to in the Yggdrasil network. So built in are 2 standard peers that I like to use that seem to work. And what you can do is change those if you want. And you can look at this list, is very useful. I think I've already got it open in the browser here. Let's have a look. Where is it? Yeah, this one, that's that URL. I'll put that in the description as well. And this is a list of peers. It's updated frequently, hourly. Here we are, hourly. So today's the 1st of June, and it shows all of the Yggdrasil peers that you can use to connect to, because they all form part of a large mesh network. And these are different countries. It's best to choose one in a country close to you, or where you are if you want. Quite a lot of them in Germany. Where is UK, where I'm sitting today? Saudi Arabia. Let's go down here. Here's UK. So there's only one, basically, this sabertruth.org. So that is built into this program. You'll see in a moment in the config file where you can change that. And there's another one as well that you will see, which I haven't listed here. So let's have a look in the config file to find out where the peers are. So if you wanted to change them, you could. Let's just do Control-C and then go back on the command line here. Let's see if I can make that fit in there again. Needs a new tab. Control-Shift-T and make it, oh, it's full screen. Okay, make it bigger, even bigger. So let's edit that config file. And here, this is my private key that I shouldn't show you, but it's going to get deleted, so don't worry about it. And this is the list of peers, and there are two in here. The one I just showed you that came from the website, and this one is from Neil Alexander himself, which needs a key, and this gives you two different peers to connect to. So if one fails, the other one will work. And this is an advantage of this system because you're not dependent on a single point of failure like you would be with Tailscale, for example. You can put a number of peers in here and hope that at least one of them is always going to be working, which is quite useful. Also, I could have interrogated it another way using one of these commands. If you do change this, then after you exit using Control-X and save it, you need to restart the Yggdrasil program so that it loads the new peers. Otherwise, you'll still be using the old ones. And if I put this in to get the peers list, it's a good way of checking if it's working. Then you can see these are all the peers it's connected to. So it's well connected in the mesh. That's quite useful. So that's probably enough for this short video, just to show how to install this simple program and how to change things if you want to. You can also get your own address if you type it in here. You just saw mine anyway. There's the GitHub repo that I put up. If I just go back, it's got some explanation in the README how to set it up. This is what I just did, and also how to connect and change settings. You can also run it as Python standalone programs if you want to, and you can change things. And you can start that from the command line, the Python program. You can put in the host name and other information, such as the channel name, which you can leave blank or set it to root, which is the one I use, and it'll connect straight away. There's also some information in here for people running NixOS, because I know people who run Nix, so there's some information for them how to set it up, and a little bit of an explanation about what is Yggdrasil and why it's useful, and which is why I'm using it, because of course Mumble will work without this, but I wanted to have another layer to bypass the problem of opening ports on a router. So give it a try if you're interested. See if you can get this program running on a Linux distro. For Windows, I don't really know. I don't have Windows anyway. Sorry about that. And pop up and say hi if you want. And I look forward to reading your comments and questions in the comments section below.